viewers, an Ethiopian state minister has called for the end to the ongoing war in Ethiopia. This is the first statement from a sitting Ethiopian minister calling for peace. An important statement. We'll talk about that, viewers. Secondly, Sudanese authorities today confirmed that hundreds of Kimant ethnic members today arrived in Sudan. Around 2,000 Kimant community members have so far crossed into Sudan. We'll talk about that. Thirdly, viewers, the US senators are threatening Sudanese military. While protests are underway in Sudan, Sudanese military and Sudanese politicians are backing protests in different parts of Sudan these minutes. I have two videos showing. One video shows a protest backed by Sudanese military. The other video shows a protest backed by Sudanese politicians. Tensions are running high in Sudan. At this critical time, the US has threatened Sudanese military. We'll talk about that. Firstly, viewers, Ethiopian Finance Minister Eyüp Tolina has issued a statement. He says that we must make a collective resolve that there should be no war in Ethiopia. Guns should be silenced, and full effort should be made for this end. Well, this is the first statement from an Ethiopian sitting minister calling for peace. He is calling for silencing of guns. He is Minister of Finance, viewers. Who can understand financial implications of a war better than a finance minister? Eyüp Tolina is Finance Minister of Ethiopia. Ethiopian economy is under stress. We have been discussing that in previous videos. And pinching sanctions are still to come, viewers. US government is in coming days about to impose very pinching, very strict economic sanctions on Ethiopian entities. Finance Minister knows that in coming days, Ethiopian economy could be in shambles. That is why he is calling for peace. A very positive statement from an Ethiopian minister, viewers. All the sides must learn there is no end to this war, no matter how long it continues. Militarily, you cannot put an end to this war. Interestingly, viewers, civilian conflicts mostly end by military means. They don't end at the table, mostly. But world is changing, viewers, and Ethiopian government, Tigray regional government and other actors, they must also realize that this war is weakening Ethiopia, it's weakening Tigray, it's weakening Amhara. There must be an end to this war. Let's see how Ethiopian government and other ministers of this government respond to this statement of Eyüp Tolina, Finance Minister of Ethiopian federal government. Secondly, was today Sudanese authorities confirmed that more than 200 new Kimant community members have crossed into Sudan. In Basinda locality on Sudan side of Sudan-Ethiopia border, Sudanese authorities have established a camp for Kimant refugees, and so far around 1,700 Kimant community members have crossed into Sudan since the start of war in Amhara. When TDF entered in Amhara region in July, since then we are seeing that Kimant community members are fleeing Amhara region. There have been past conflicts between Kimant ethnic group and Amharas. Fighting did happen in the past as well near Gondar, and 2 weeks ago, we reportedly heard of a joint offensive on ENDF and Amhara forces by Kimat and TDF fighters. Then negotiations were held between Kimat community elders and Ethiopian National Defense Force officers. The offensive has been repelled by ENDF viewers, but Kimat community members, they are fleeing because reportedly it's becoming difficult for Kimat community to survive because they are being seen as loyal to TPLF. That is why Kimat community is fleeing Amhara region. Lastly, viewers, the US government has threatened Sudan's military. Not US government, but a US senator who is at US Senate Foreign Relations Committee, he has issued a statement. Jim Risch, a Republican senator, an influential senator, he has threatened Sudanese military because he says that if Sudanese military or former ruler Umar al-Bashir supporters try to remove Abdullah Hamdok from power, or they try to undermine civilian authority, US-Sudan relations will be in jeopardy, and US debt relief to Sudan in jeopardy. 1 billion pledged aid from US to Sudan will be in jeopardy as well, and Sudanese government will be deprived of international goodwill. It's an open threat from a US senator to Sudanese military that it should not try to remove Abdullah Hamdok. Sudanese military is due to hand over leadership of Sovereignty Council, Sudan's top body, to Abdullah Hamdok. The Sudanese military does not want to hand over the chairmanship of Sovereignty Council. Sudanese military wants early elections. Elections are due to be held in 2024, viewers, but Sudanese military wants early elections. It does not want to hand over Sovereignty Council to Sudanese politicians. We saw a coup a couple of days ago. Since then, tensions have been rising. Protests are being carried out in Sudan in different parts. Both Sudanese military and Sudanese politicians, they are backing protests. In Red Sea state of Sudan, reportedly, Sudanese military has launched protests. Protesters are demanding resignation of PM Abdullah Hamdok. In some other areas, Sudanese politicians are backing protests against Sudanese military. So very volatile and tense situation in Sudan. Watch two videos. First video is from a Red Sea state of Sudan, where you can hear people calling for the removal of Abdullah Hamdok. The protest was backed by Sudanese military. Then you can see other protests in Nuba Mountains area, where protesters are backing Abdullah Hamdok government. Watch the protests. Thank you for watching.
عشان كده همدوك يا اخواننا رجل خطير جدا.
قاصدنا
نحن سكوته ده وعناية ده قايلين له زول بتاع ادب ومهذب ويقود البلد، لكن رجل خطير جدا، ولذلك لف بالقضية الأساسية وطوالي قام أنه عشان يحرض فينا الشعب السوداني والثوار والمجتمع الدولي، طوالي لصق فينا التهمة بتاعت انقلاب.